Hey guys, Silverbeam here with Silverbeam Dolls. I'm doing a little tutorial demonstration more like of modeling. Now, as you can see here in my modeling program, I actually also, while I figured I'd make this video, I'm also testing out, considering about getting the next version of the 3D program that I'm using, the upgraded version. I normally use 9.6 Lightwave by New Tech, and I'm debating about getting their 2015 version, which is like version 11 or something like that. So I'm just in trial mode, but it gives me all of the functions that I need anyway. So, as you can see here, I've got a model loaded up. This is the pinecone fairy, or my seedling little doll. I believe I am going to call these super tiny seedlings. I may come up with a better name, but for now, that's what these little guys are calling. This was the first one I made. It was an experiment. I wanted to see how quickly and how tiny. It was a dual sort of dual goal. I wanted to see how quickly and how tiny I could make a 3D printed ball jointed doll. And this little doll is just a little bit over 3 centimeters. It became after it was strung. And here's a picture of it in my hand. As you can see, it's very tiny and ridiculously simple in the joints. As you can see, I just have the arms and legs are all one piece, and there is no left or right. I have them mirrored identical, so it doesn't matter which side, when you get the pieces, which leg goes on which hip joint. And you can see it's just, I've got a simple socket. I've already run into something different. I'm used to having polygons and points down here, and they're up here. Wonder if that stays. Yep, that stays for all the tool tabs. So if I get pause and get confused for a minute, that's why. Actually, here's a better. I've got them in different files. As you can see, it's a simple cup and ball jointing system. You create a cup where the ball joint sits, and then of course a hole to string the cord through. So I've got hip joints, and then the shoulder joints, and then I've got the ball joint for the neck there. The head has, of course, the cup built into it at the bottom there. So that's actually your basic principle to a ball jointed doll. You want a ball, and then you want the cup for the ball to sit in. Now, how much that ball joint sits into the cup, it could be a shallow cup, it could be a very deep cup. The deeper cups, it will sit and look a little better, but it will it will block some of the movements of your ball joint. So that's just one of the, always with ball jointed dolls, it's a mix of aesthetics, or how well the design looks, and functionality, how well the doll poses. And that's always the struggle for as an artist that sculpts BJD is where do you draw the line on aesthetics and jointing? For example, I rather like the 3-part torsos where you have an upper torso and a lower torso and then a joint in the middle. But a lot of dolls just have a 2-point. They don't actually have a middle joint. And then some dolls just have the torso as one piece, kind of like this doll. So you don't have any of those weird cut lines and grooves to interrupt the flow of the anatomy of your doll sculpt. which looks lovely, but then of course you can't do things like bending over as really. So I thought I'd work on a new version of this doll and see if we could make a new one, and I will explain as I go. I haven't really thought about a design idea, but I'm gonna get rid of the hat because there's too much geometry going on there to edit. The head's fine. The body will have to adjust, but it's fine. And then same thing with the legs and the arms. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on symmetry so that whatever I select and do on the left will be selected and done on the right. A very handy tool that is always good to use. Right off the bat, I'm going to make this more level. And I'm actually probably going to select most of this geometry and get rid of it. And I selected the loop, so it went ahead and selected the entire row here. Now, if I had selected two verticals, it would have selected the entire column. That is why it is important to keep a good polygon flow, that you don't do crazy geometry connecting, you know, zigzaggy and crisscrossy, so that you have clean loops, so that it really does help you out. So I'm going to be doing some deconstructing before I get it to be to a base model. Now I wish, if I was smart, I would have saved the base before I had added all of this detail. But the detail was, some of the detail was actually a I went back and I played with my model a little bit. Interesting. I'm already noticing little differences than the older version of the program. And again, I'm going to make sure I've got this loop selected. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and select the other loop. And I'm holding shift down so that it will select. Actually, you know what? That's too... I was going to just connect these two loops, but I'm worried that it will have some issues since it's such a big change difference. So we're going to go ahead and make another loop, and we're going to size it up so that it's closer to matching. And try to get it matching a little bit of the loop down below, just a little bit. And I hold down shift. Otherwise, if I don't have down shift, I can unclick, but I won't click anything new. I'm clicking and it's not selecting anything. So holding down shift, I will be able to select more geometry. And again, just to make sure I have all loops and I haven't missed one, I'm going to select loop. Now we are going to our tool, we go into construct and our construction tabs, and we are going to press the bridge tool down here on the left under combining. And this will bridge the two. Hopefully. But you know what? It's always like when you do something that's a little tricky, it's always good to see your object so that if it crashes and decides it doesn't like that. Actually, I didn't call them seeds, I called them buttons. I correct myself. Button, BJD. And we're gonna call this base. And then when we start adding detail, we will call it whatever we go with. Alright, let's just try the bridge tool now that we've saved it. And you can see it tried, but it failed in a couple of spots where the geometry was just a little... You can see where I selected a couple and then select the loop and it grabbed all of the entire loop. Alright, let's try this again. Yep, see now it had a much easier time without those strong angles on figuring it out. And we're gonna go here and fix some of what I've adjusted. Now, because I have symmetry on, I can do nice, easy things like this. Give it the hint of a bum. And we're just going to adjust a few things. Some of the sharper angles will soften up. Now I'm working in a mode called subpatch or subdivision, where it is automatically subdividing to get a nice, smooth, organic type surface. But as you can see, I don't have very many polygons. Polygons being this is a polygon. I've got 2 polygons selected, so pretty much your shape, like square, rectangle, pentagon, those would all be types of polygons. It's also good to work in 4-point polygons. For subdivision tool, at least with this program, it can only work with 3 to 4 points polygons. You can see this is a 4-point polygon. A triangle would be a 3-point polygon. So it can't do higher polygons than that without some issues. Now if you notice here, I've got 2 polygons selected in my lower right window, and that I just needed to grab to do both. Now this is the inside wall. With 3D printing, you need to model the inside of your model so that it has volume and knows where to print and where not to print on the inside. Otherwise, it would fill it all in, or it would have holes and it wouldn't be moddable. Now, since this is a tiny wall, and there are, of course, you want to make sure that you're not brittle. Your walls are thick enough to be strong and durable. And for that, I recommend, and you gotta keep in mind also what material you're using, because some are more brittle, some are more durable, some are flexible. Now you want at least a 1mm wall. I prefer 1.2 to 1.5. 2mm would actually be really preferable, but 3D printing is volume based. How much material is used is a lot of the cost. So I aim around 1.2, and that hopefully to really range around 1 to 1.5. I'm just going through and editing. Some of it's just personal, like centering things. This is where your artistic sense comes in a little bit, as well as your joint function. I actually want to make the cup for the a little bigger. Making it bigger will help sit the legs in a little better. Just giving a flatter pelvic area, but you can see there's a little bit of really we'll need to learn the shortcut keys. I know why that's not up as much as I want it to be, because I need that wall to be strong there for the shoulders. Yeah. Control E is my ruler tool so that I can measure. Bringing this down gives it the appearance of the clavicle. That's the right bone. I am just getting the basic overall shape a little happier, anatomy and appearance wise, that I have a good base to make lots of these little critters. Okay, getting there. Now, another thing you could do besides saving each file as a higher numeric number so that you can go back and adjust, previous files if need be, is to, copy and paste your object into another layer and just keep everything all into one file. It does mean for larger files, though. So I normally just, depending on what I'm doing, usually do a combination of both. There we go. Always save often, often, often. Now what I did right there was I made that little bump by extruding one polygon. So if I select the extra geometry and I press now I can't think of what I pressed. Shift C. Shift C will merge all of those polys into one poly. So now I have the arm without the extra detail. I'll go ahead and do that for the feet as well. That way I can go back and just the detail. See, I didn't get all of the polys. There we go. There we go. So now we just have our base. We can do whatever we want to make future dolls. And you can see in some of my adjustments, the leg hips aren't doing as good. Since I want to make sure I don't adjust things too far, I will copy and paste so I have the original in a different layer. And we're going to make it a little less wider. And overall shrink it just a little. Don't want to go too much because these are already small parts with very fragile-ish. Bring that down a little for a more flatter foot. That will sit a little better. Now, if this was a normal doll, I would, you know, go in and do something like this. But then that would mean they were mirrored and there was a left and a right. For anatomy and look-wise, but I want them to be uniformal. So that'll be good. Let's take a look at it with the torso now. We're actually going to go ahead and raise don't want to do that though because that will make it a left and a right. It will make it easy to see left and right, though. Choices. What I can do is bring this down instead. Select loop. Ah, it's cute. Oversized feet. I'm gonna try and position that precisely how it would be when strung. See, now if I didn't bring that down or the other up, the legs will automatically want to kick out like this to fit that. And that's what I'm trying to adjust. I'm just trying to improve on my base a little bit as well. That's part of what's going on. Trying to adjust the shapes a little bit. It fixed the inside, but then it made the outside look weird. So we won't do that. That might be alright. I might adjust and play with that a little bit more, but in general, I'm liking how that's going. Trying to get it to delete. There we go. And we're going to do a little bit of the same thing with the arms. Make sure that the got a better actually going to make them a little bit longer. Trying to make the ball joints match a little better. A little hard to do with some of the constraints I have. And the size, you know. Select the loop. If I right click and hold it on my mouse, I can draw and it'll select anything within that circle that I draw. In case people were wondering what I was doing there. It's like you go into here thinking, I'm going to explain everything, and then you forget, like, because you get into what you're doing. It's like, right, yeah. Alright. Alright, the last thing to do to generalize our file. Actually, we're going to make another adjustment to these feet. Now we're going to make a head cap. Since we deleted our other one. See, Shift G is not working because I got too many intersecting things for all of it. Another way I can fix that is to go in and weld points together. But, you know, make sure you turn your symmetry off for that. See, we got rid of some of that extra, made it a little smoother. Now, instead of going in and doing the exact same thing the other side, what we're going to do instead is we're going to mirror I also made some loose polys and the polys that were there, but get rid of those. Another way to have gotten rid of those is you can go over to statistics, wherever that went on this new version. I'll have to figure that out. Nope, no idea where statistics went. But anyway, it's another way to get rid of it. Some loose dots. But what we're gonna do, and you can do this at any time, when you're trying to make something symmetric and it goes off of symmetry. This is the side we want. So what we're gonna do is select the other side, and again, make sure your symmetry is off. We're going to select just the one side. Make sure you select everything on that side. You can kind of check and make sure that your lines are straight. And press H, which is our sizing tool, and then make sure you're right on the origin. You can check by the where you are there, and it needs to be 0 for your X. flatten that all to the X, press delete. And now we go to the multiply tab and we want to mirror X. And now everything that was on the left is now on the right, and it is also joined together because everything, it will automatically merge points that are exactly on top of each other. Okay, we're going to continue with our head making, our head cap making. Actually, I'm just going to grab that one row. Oh, I need to put my symmetry back on. Now with that, I am going to copy that. Point. I'm going to make it just a teeny bit smaller so it fits properly. Now we're going to flip. And then what we're going to do is going to take the top edge and grab it all. Going to extrude so we make more geometry. And we're going to start making a sort of a sphere, hemisphere shape. And don't worry, we'll fix the weird wonky shape a little bit in a minute. Now there's two ways. I can go in and go up and just and then take the points at the center and merge them all. And that's the easiest way. But if I'm worried about polygon flow and I don't want as many polygons, what I can do is go in let's just sort of patch it together. Save. Now I've got more than just one. So what I'm going to do is divide that. May need to divide that again, but maybe not. Fill in those holes. And again, you want to make sure it's 4 points. And then you just go in and adjust the shape. I kind of want to leave the edge there because we want, instead of using a magnet to attach the head cap, we kind of want it to fit. And right now, this is what it would look like, which actually isn't quite right. We want it to sit on this edge. So what we're gonna do, so when I grabbed, I should have grabbed that edge too, all the way up. Oops. But we're gonna do, grab polygons. Make sure it grabs up to that loop edge that we had. And we are going to go E. And hopefully this will get us, and we will adjust the shape. Okay, now our width is good. Just need to get our depth a little more. I'm just gonna go in here and adjust. Try to get it to sit. That actually looks like he's wearing a kind of a cap. But we need more geometry to get the shape a little bit better, so. Make another row there. And I want edges. Select loop. Make that a little bigger, and we're going to come down so we can make a points to get a nice round shape. Wrong button. I want this point. Thank you very much. Maybe a little less. And you can see where the geometry is going through rather than sitting nicely on top. So I'm going to grab this loop, actually bring it down so it's a little at a slant rather than flat to help with that. I want to redo that so that it's a better fit at the top there. But you get the general idea, which is what I was just going for. And since this video has already gone on longer than I predicted, we're gonna go leave it off with just showing you adjusting and creating the base. I will probably go and remake that head cap again, because it's just not quite what I want it to be at this point. But other than that, that'll give me a nice base to make a new version of this doll for a future box and for the shop. And hopefully that was instructive, or at very least slightly interesting at points. Thanks guys for all of your support and help and everything all that you do, and hope you guys have a great dolly day and have a good one.